Ben, far away with loneliness.
I shall indeed. My most recent experience of loneliness was partially due to lockdown, but not necessarily. I won't put it down to that. So last year I was at uni and I was living in halls. I made some great friends. They now all think I'm a wanker. You know, is how it is. But I made some great friends there. I had a great time there. And then the virus kicked about and I thought, right, sod paying for uni housing because I know that it's just going to be a load of tat. I don't really want it. So I decided to sod it. I can commute in. It'll be fine, which is what I did. So I'm now stuck at home 24/7, basically. And because of that, it's a really awkward... It's sad more than anything. And it is a real feeling of loneliness, of that feeling of missing out when all you can see on everyone's, Snapchat stories. And one of the reasons I despise social media, all I can see is everyone else having a great time at uni, everyone else going and getting pissed. And it's like, who can I get pissed with? My sister who doesn't drink and my mum who doesn't drink. Not really. So,
the Discord call.
Yeah, at this point, that's basically
I've
it.
got the Beer and Bullshit podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. At this point, yeah. But there's this real crushing feeling, especially at the start when everyone was, uni house, we can do what we want. It's our house now. And everyone was putting it up. It was really crushing. Especially when I'd go and see people. And I'd go to their house and I'd see how great of a time they'd be having, and then I'd come home and realize, oh, it's just like being at secondary school. I'm stuck in my room. Yay. And over time, I will admit it has gotten better. To begin with, my first reaction was, right, well, sod all of you cunts. I'm staying in my room and I'm not talking to any of you because now I'm just jealous and in spite. And that was probably when I started playing more. Well, after that was when I started probably playing more Warzone with you, Char, on stream, and started harassing you like, please let me play. I've got no friends. And that helped, surprisingly. I wish I had done it sooner. I wish, even though you were playing Fortnite and even though I couldn't stick that game, I wish I had stuck it out or done something like that and actually got in contact with you to do something with my time rather than sit here and wallow in a pit of, well, self-pity, I suppose. Which was nice. I enjoyed that. I think loneliness is a difficult one. Especially, I think loneliness is difficult when you can see other people not being lonely and you sit there and wish, like, oh, I wish that could be me. But then when you start to take advantage of the situation, and realize that all the good you can do for yourself by bettering yourself and doing things that you actually want to do, I think it can turn into an advantageous kind of thing to a degree.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any easier, don't get me wrong. There are still days where I'll sit there and think, Christ, I'd rather be anywhere than here, or anywhere rather than on my own.
Yeah. Very natural feeling though.
Yeah. Loneliness is awkward because it's programmed into our brains to feel lonely. Humans as a species are very social animals. Yeah. We don't want to be alone. But then there are times where you are stuck alone and there's not really much you can do about it except for try and make the best of it, the best that you can.
Yeah.
And if that means to you having an off day, just doing nothing and enjoying doing nothing, as it were, then that's, I deem that as a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
If it helps you.
What about obviously linking back to school, you and I coming into secondary school, and this is more towards younger audiences now. I guess some of the older people might still associate with this. If you're starting a new job or something, we came from two very different schools. Ben and I didn't know each other when we first started secondary. We didn't know each other basically until sixth form, wasn't it? It was like
It was
we
year
were
12.
a lot older, yeah.
Was the first time we spoke.
And we hadn't spoken in the first 5 years of school, or however fucking long it had been. We kind of knew of each other, I think. But we were both very much outcast from the rest of the society of school. They were very set on going to university. I'd never wanted to go to university. My goals had always been set, and it wasn't that. And I think it was probably safe to say that you had different aspirations, but also had a different background and upbringing in comparison to a lot of these other people, same as I did. How did that affect you as being potentially outcast from the bulk of the society that was our school?
Well, I mean, I know this is almost akin to you as well, but obviously we both came from relatively small schools compared to grammar schools in terms of the size of the year. So I want to say we've had this conversation because I think we have. We both came from schools that were around about maybe 30 odd people, 35 absolute
there was
maximum.
15 in my year, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like absolute maximum in an entire year. And then we go to secondary school where in the entire year, you know, we're looking at 120, 130 people in 1 year.
Yeah.
Which was daunting to say the least.
I mean, there was more people in our year in year 7 than there was in my entire primary school.
Yeah.
You know.
But then what comes, in my case, what came with that smaller school year was that everyone kind of liked the same thing. Everyone was kind of always on the same thing because no one wanted to feel left out. So everyone, you know, it was very much what would now be considered nerdy, e.g. Pokemon, stuff like that. And I loved that as a kid. I thought that was great. I had all the DS games. It was brilliant. And I went into secondary school and
so young.
You know, that awkward thing of trying to make friends, and you go, you know, you start talking about your hobbies, you see if anyone likes what you like, and Christ, from like day one, everyone was just like, what a weirdo, he still plays Pokemon. He's like 11, 12. How has he not grown out of that kind of thing? How is he not into sports and football? I despised football. I thought it was a load of tat. I still do. But, you know, that was the cool thing. That was the done thing at that school. And everyone was constantly, oh, you know, should we go down to the AstroTurf and play some football? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll go down to the AstroTurf and I'd just sit there and watch everyone else play and think, well, this is shit.
Yeah, it was. Our school was very, very cliquey, wasn't it? There was a lot of groups that kind of expanded, and people either wanted to be a part of or were a part of.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to fit in if you wasn't already a part of that or didn't enjoy those sorts of things. Like, you had quintessentially a brainy, like your classic boffins, and they all stayed together. You had your sweaty, sporty motherfuckers that would be running on their lunch breaks and in the gym and stuff. And then you had like the artsy lot, and then you had like, you know, it was everything that you'd expect in cliques from a school. You had the arseholes, the nice ones, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of divided it into factions almost. And if you didn't fit in with one of those factions, there wasn't just like I'm going to call it an outcast reject group, because you probably didn't fit in because of some wild fucking difference in comparison to everyone else. And like, that was fucking horrible seeing everyone making friendships. And I think for the first 2 years of school, I didn't really speak to anyone. I basically just sat and read in our form room. I was a bookworm at this point. That was me, but I read like books that weren't about science, so I didn't even fit in with the current book crowd that was at the school. You know what I mean? So, but it was hard to mix, wasn't it? And I know that affected you as well. And I know that you know, do you think it had any sort of lasting effect on you, or do you think it negatively impacted you in any way, or positively even?
I think, and I'll probably go more in depth into this in the bullying side of it, but I think in a way...
If you want to touch on that now, then you can.
Yeah, I think in a way it helped me because I was so different, and because, you know, obviously, for those of you who aren't watching YouTube or haven't seen me before, I have long hair and a beard, and I'm just a bit weird.
I have noticed the conscious effort you made to put your hair forward today.
Thank you.
For the lighting.
Thank you.
You say weird, I say fucking sex on legs, but you know, carry on.
You know, to each their own. But because of that, obviously, no one really wanted to be my friend because I already was the outcast, so me making friends was non-existent. So in a way, it helped me to become more independent and more, fuck it, I'll just do what I want kind of thing, which definitely helped. And I want to say the same thing kind of happened to you, because that definitely helped leading into sixth form when everyone suddenly realized, wait a minute, cliques are weird. I don't want to be part of a clique. I want to be my own person. And by that point, you and I already had what,
we'd
4 years
had
experience.
Some sort of definition to who we were as individuals, didn't we?
Yeah.
And,
so then I think in an odd way, people started looking up to us, even though we were always considered the outcast,
To
the
an
rejects
extent,
kind of thing.
and
I think
it
some
kind
people
of
started thinking,
manifested itself in a different way, though, didn't it? In terms of, despite us now being the people that everyone else wanted to be in terms of our own individual, they then gave us shit for being our own individual because we had matured in different ways, and that that ultimately was what everyone wanted to do, but it had an adverse effect on us because we were still the outcasts because we were the people that had matured at a different rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the funny part was Ben and I both started smoking at the same time, more or less, and we would walk into a lesson like a minute late, and everyone would just start going, "Oh, I can smell smoke," and it's like, yeah, very funny, and it was like obviously fucking trying to hide it from the teachers that we'd been fucking smoking 14 fucking decks of fags on our lunch break sort of thing. So it'd be like covered in deodorant and like so much so that you'd walk into a room and everyone would start choking because you smelled so much of Lynx Africa. But well, yeah, exactly. But it was like, or like fucking Jean Paul Gaultier aftershave. Just spray as much of that shit on your blazer as possible. Eat a load of chewing gums and then go back into lesson as if nothing had happened, and you actually just smell. I'm going to quote the in-betweeners here, like an industrial accident at the Lynx factory. But yeah, no, I think it was safe to say that throughout the entirety of, especially our secondary school life, I can't vouch for your primary school, but it was pretty similar to me in primary school. We were both outcasts, and I think that was pushed upon us as well by obviously your family split up at quite a young age. You didn't have your dad there, did you, from a young age? And my dad left at some point as well, and it meant that between the two of us, we both had to mature for our families, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Become the man of the house and have to learn to grow up a little bit quicker than normal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just a quick side note, if you don't want me to put that bit in, I won't put that bit in.
Oh, I couldn't give a shit. But I think, in my case at least, because of that forced, oh shit, okay, right, I can't have my like young teenage cockabout years of like going to parties and being cool. And, you know, like I've actually got to, you know, sort my life out kind of thing. It almost pushed the loneliness to one side and forced me to be more independent.
Yeah.
Which made the loneliness lessen, but it was definitely still there. Looking back on how I acted, and there were times where I think there was one like entire week that I just took off school, mainly because I was just so low, and the last thing I wanted to do was go back to that shithole. Looking back on things like that, that was definitely a culmination of the loneliness that I had tried so hard to ignore and tell myself, no, I'm not that lonely outcast reject kind of thing. But I think if I had accepted it as, yeah, I am different, it possibly could have been a good thing.
Yeah.
Acceptance
loneliness and self-acceptance is very hard to come by, isn't it? It's hard to accept who you are when there are people that you think are better than you, and it's so easy to compare yourself to other people. This is one of the big standoffs to social media. One of the things on social media is people only post what they want you to see. Very often, very rarely do people openly talk about how shit their day has been or how much they're struggling at the minute. You don't see that often, do you? You see pictures of them with their friends with a big grin on their face, and you're like, but that's not me. But it's like, that was maybe the one time in the last 6 months that they went out with their friends, but you don't know that because they've been reposting shit from the last 3 years when they were maybe a bit more sociable. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And social media is an incredible cause of loneliness because despite theoretically bringing people together on the internet, it can also really push people away and have very, very fucking adverse effects. I mean, there are, Instagram influencers, models, etc. that a lot of people will compare themselves to and think, well, why aren't I living that life? And I know I used to do it as well when I rode my bike. I'd watch a load of people that, there would be loads of BMXers that I followed, and they'd be traveling about all over the country. And I'd traveled a lot as well. But I'd be like, fuck, I'm stuck here doing homework, and these motherfuckers have traveled up to Corby, where the biggest skate park in like Western Europe or whatever the fuck it worked out to be, or in Europe, I think it even was. And I'm still stuck at home. I loved Corby. It was an amazing skate park. It was so cool. It was like you'd get up there and was overwhelmed by the amount of stuff there was to do. It's like, I'm stuck indoors doing homework. What do you mean? Do you know what I mean? And it makes you feel incredibly isolated and lonely. And like that's worsened nowadays by obviously lockdown and stuff as well, isn't it?
So, yeah, 100%.
I don't know, like
So it's for all these years, everyone's strived for perfection, but perfection's only been given to people in different various forms of media, and now on social media, and everyone's still trying to get there. There is, at the end of the day, perfection is what you make it, and it's not exactly it's not really a thing that you see online, is it?
No, it's a concept, isn't it?
So,
and before, people used to compare themselves to television shows, reality shows, where everything was right, or if it wasn't right, it was wrong, but it was funny wrong. Do you know what I mean? When in reality, when something goes wrong in real life, it goes fucking pear-shaped, and it's all gone tits up, and it's not funny, and there's no way. It's very hard to look at it in an amusing way, and I think that comparing yourself to television or to social media, and a lot of people will sit there and say, "But I don't do that," and it's like subconsciously you do. I know I do it. I look at other people and I'm like, this motherfucker's having a laugh. He's talking to so many other people. He's out with his mates, and I'm sat at home editing a video on my ones at 3 o'clock in the morning when this cunt's just got home from, the local club, absolutely pissed up, having pulled about 13 different birds. And I'm sat there, I'll fucking do my own thing. And it's like, sometimes it's a bit like, why? You know what I mean? And it can be quite disheartening. It really can. I mean, I don't know, as a teacher, have you seen the effects of like loneliness and outcasting at school? Have you seen anyone that was sort of perhaps in a nice position?
Kind of like outcasting. So I'm presuming when you talk about primary and secondary, your secondary starts at year 7.
Yep. Yeah.
So up until recently in the county that I'm in, we had a 3-tier system.
Okay.
So it would go from 1 or reception to year 4, then you would go 5 to 8, and then you would go 9 on to 6th form. So that created a very big, it changed mostly across the county about 2 years ago, and they changed to a 2-tier system. And that especially created a lot of outcast, and actually it made a very big change to the maturation of the younger students. So we were starting to see year like 3 and 4, so they're like between 8 and 10, mix with like year 6s. So you're kind of hitting that puberty stage. They've got social media, they've got access to games, they're talking about Discord, and they're freely roaming up until, kind of coronavirus, freely roaming with these younger children who are still kind of, in the realms of Peppa Pig and Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that 2-year gap is huge from what they go through.
Yeah.
But they start outcasting, and at a very young age, really. They're normally very inclusive up until about the age of like 7 or 8, and then they start to get their friendship groups.
Yeah.
They start to get their own personalities more. You'll see, like you're saying yourselves, those children that are lacking a parent, whether it be through bereavement or separation, start to mature at faster rates. They start to become more independent. They start to do things on their own. And sometimes they, especially if they're a carer, so if they've got younger siblings and mum, or say it's a single parent, whether it be mum or dad, works maybe 2 jobs, you'll see that that child starts to care for, I'm going to say, like more vulnerable children within the year group and the class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the typical children that are, got special educational needs, or perhaps just aren't as bright, or taken a longer time to mature, or have some other kind of condition that tend to get outcasted at a very early age, because those brighter children, the ones that tend to be more popular, the ones that tend to be more sporty, start to see that these children are vulnerable, that they are different, that they maybe are easy to antagonize, and they start to play on it. And it's very hard to make a child understand why this other child is acting different without segregating them.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And recently it is being drilled into schools quite well. Like there's a program called NED, which is never something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's about bullying essentially. And it's about being an upstander rather than a bystander.
Yeah.
And you see it's fantastic up until about year 4, when they start to see the year 6s and they start to see the potty mouth, the bitching, the girlfriends, the chasing each other around the playground, playing kiss chase, playing, doing all this. And then you start to see a bigger segregation of groups. So you've got the sporty, you've got the book nerds, you've got the kind of like the makeup girls, like they're kind of up themselves at the age of 12. It's incredible, and it's difficult to kind of talk to them on a professional level, because you do want to do it on a personal level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to kind of just shake them and be like, you need to stop, fucking focus up.
Yeah.
Because this is your life in front of you. Just focus for the next 4 years. That's all you got to do. And then you're fucking scot-free. But in the same respect, you want to be like, enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be a fine line between the two, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
And there is enjoyment, and then there is pissing your life away at the same time.
Yeah, and you do see it at an early age. And the area that I worked in was very poor. Had a lot of cultural differences as well, and a lot of religion differences, which kind of furthered the gap in some respects. You start to see racism creep up, and you start to see there was a big Muslim community and there was a big African community, and you would tend to see that they would stick with each other. Do you know what I mean? They would stick within their own community when they got older. When they were younger, they would mix freely. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of drilled in through social medias and the kind of areas that they live in, the people they interact with.
Yeah.
And you can't change that within a school. Do you know what I mean?
100%. You're never going to be able to change that, are you?
No.
It's I think, but also at that point in a young age, it's not even about the effects that teachers necessarily have. A lot of it's home life as well. Like, I don't know if as a parent, Pudge, you've had any experience with that in terms of currently as the only parent, has it ever had anything has that ever returned home and had any sort of knock-on effect at home from school?
Not as yet. I think that she's 8 now, and she's just sort of getting into that age of like what Elle was saying. Like they're starting to mix in with their older year groups and that, and like she's got her own friendship clique right now, and they're really good friends, and hopefully they will stay that way. But like we've all been through school, we've all had friends that we used to talk to like, a lot, like when we was younger, and then you sort of start to drift away. And I don't want to see her do it, but unfortunately, it probably is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a part of growing up.
Yeah. Obviously, she won't notice it. We didn't really notice it at the time, but it's not until we get to this point we think back, oh, bloody hell, I used to speak to that guy.
That's the thing. There's one person to this day that I regularly speak to, and I say regularly, and I mean on maybe a bi-monthly basis, from primary school. And the only person I speak to regularly from secondary school is Ben. And we only knew each other for the last year of it because I only did a year of sixth form. And we've actually kept in contact, and we're closer now than we have ever been. And I like that. I like that we've managed to keep in contact like that. But it is still to this day the only person that I regularly speak to on a good basis. Do you know what I mean? And there are people that I look back and I think, cool, I wonder what they're doing these days. But also, as I guess you grow apart. You grow apart, and you the older you get, you experience different interests. So, when you're in years 2, 3, you're sort of 5 and 6 years old sort of thing, and you're running around a playground with a stick, everyone's interested in that. Is a stick.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
You've got a cool stick. I want the cool stick.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck?
And
How can I get a cooler stick?
And then as you become an adult, sticks don't interest you anymore. Or not even become an adult, as you just get generally older from being that sort of age. It's like, well, one person might end up being really interested in football. The other might end up being really interested in computers, and they might never ever talk to each other again.
If I still find a stick on the ground that looks like a gun, I'm pretty interested in it.
Well, yeah. You and me both, Ben, but I feel like we are the lost few. Do you know what I mean? I can still have
actually quite a good thing to add in here. Literally, I recently found this out like last week. So when I was in infants and primary, there was a lad there at school, and He was fixated with trains, and every break time, he was that fascinated and fixated on him. He would pretend to be a station master, and the train would come in every break without fail. And I didn't see much wrong with that at the time. Obviously, a few kids did, because some kids are arseholes, unfortunately. But like, he grew up in life and he carried on with it. But like, everyone moved on to secondary, and he went to different schools and whatnot. And I was just thinking back the other day. I was like, I wonder what he's been up to, sort of thing. So I used the tools you have, Facebook and internet search and whatnot. I was like, searched him up. I found out
serial killer.
No, even better. It's better than that. He so when he was in his young teens, he got diagnosed with Asperger's.
Okay.
And like there's write-ups on him and everything online and that, and he's become quite successful just for a passion for trains.
Right.
Like, and I was searching into him. I was like, so what's he done then? I found like his Twitter and whatnot and read for it. I was like, wait, he's got a YouTube. I checked out his YouTube. I nearly fell over. Like, this guy took his passion and he got in with a load of different people, and he carried on with it. He's got 30,000 subs on YouTube.
Really?
Like, yeah. He's literally the Jeremy Clarkson of steam trains.
Jeremy Clarkson of steam trains.
I shit you not.
So what does his content consist of? It's going on different trains or admiring them, or what? Like train spotting?
I had a quick brief over some of his videos. He travels the length and breadth of the country to talk about particular steam train.
Really?
And these videos have got mad views. I'm just like, oh, well done. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Fair play.
This guy, like, everyone made like sort of mockery of. Like, I never really had a problem with him, sort of thing. I was like, I'd get on with it.
Yeah.
But like, I was just like, wow.
The funny part is he probably makes a shit ton more money than everyone else that makes the bits out of him now.
Exactly. Like, he's got his own sort of like media company sort of thing, and he produces his own DVDs and sells them. And
really? Fucking hell.
Yeah. I was gobsmacked when I found out.
That's cool, isn't it?
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's important. I don't know. Like, who you are at school doesn't define who you become when you're an adult.
No, exactly. Life changes so much, doesn't it? Life really does change so much.
I was just really glad to see he just carried on with it and made something of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
that's amazing.
I mean, look, we're in our early 30s now, like, and I've known him since we was 4. Like, and it's just amazing, really. It really is.
Almost so fucking good. 30 years later, fucking seeing the difference in what a passion can do, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Bit of drive.
So one thing that's always interested me, and I've never really asked, as the only parent, once again, in the group, what, in regards to when Maddie was first born, I assume you took a step back. This was before, obviously, I knew you took a more parental role, perhaps because you were 25? 24, 25?
Wait, hold on. Let me just do the maths. Yeah, 25.
I'm 20 now, and I can't imagine in 5 years' time having a kid. And I don't know if that was the same for you. How did that change? Did you have to take a step back from being out partying? Because I imagine, like, once Rona's over and I can sit there and go back out and get fucked up, in 5 years' time, I'm probably still going to be streaming and getting fucked up. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, mate. Like, when I was 20, this wasn't even, mate, every day I was
in the horizon. Yeah,
it wasn't even a full. I would go to work. I'd get paid weekly, and before Sunday I was skinned. You know what I mean? When I was your age.
Yeah,
like, I'd get paid. I'd be in the nightclubs Friday night, Saturday night, and if it was a bank holiday, Monday and a Sunday. Like, pub every night. Like, it wasn't really till I met Beck, because like when I sort of started settling down, I wasn't going to the pub every night because she'd be on my case because she was hungry and wanted feeding. Wait, nothing's changed. She's just about to hit me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But then obviously eventually Maddie came along and we got married and.
Watch what you say now.
Because I assume she can't hear this through the earphones. Did that have some sort of effect in terms of you felt like you was missing out with your friends who maybe hadn't have reached that point in their life yet and was still out partying, and you was maybe missing out on some of the nights out? Did you feel lonely because you weren't up the pub every night again? Because obviously the pub is an incredibly social place, and watching a lot of men who would be at the pub regularly, their mental health at least, deteriorate since lockdown coming about and not having that incredibly social aspect of their life. I mean, maybe I'm wrong in saying this because I don't have a kid. Does having a kid have any sort of similar effect to that? I.e., you're missing out on those sorts of things. Does that have a negative impact on you as a person, feeling like you're missing out on going out with your mates? Or is it such a wondrous occasion that it kind of cancels it out?
I think the family aspect kind of cancelled out. Yeah, I'd love to go to the pub like more frequently than I possibly can.
Who doesn't?
But, like, because of lockdown. But not just that, like, but obviously, I haven't.
Don't overstep the mark.
Yeah, watch out.
To do like what I used to. I can't afford to provide. Like, I've got to make sure the rent's being paid or whatnot and everything else. I can't just piss it up the wall, like, because one, I won't be able to. I wouldn't have a home to come back to. I wouldn't be able to see Madison every day, and I wouldn't have Beck. So,
yeah, of course.
Good answer. I think she'll be happy with that answer.
When she watches this specific section back, Beck, this is about loneliness. It'll be contents under loneliness.
Loneliness.
She's like, you're going to be fucking lonely if you keep it up, prick.
Jesus, blown her up again. You don't know loneliness until you've done it twice. Damn.
So, in terms of, obviously, Ben's touched on how lockdown has affected him as a student. Has it affected you in any way, Elle? Because you've changed jobs since lockdown has come about, moving from teacher to more of a child-minded aspect.
Yeah.
That lack of social life with perhaps other adults in terms of other adult teachers affected you at all?
I mean, in terms of leaving like quite a large workforce, it was definitely strange to begin with. But because I'm working with my mum, her friend, and like her friend's daughter. It's like a familiar environment. It's quite nice. I've got a lot of freedom. I would say, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird one. Like I would say a solid friendship group. There's probably about 10 of us, but we haven't seen each other regularly for a long time. I think the last time we were actually all together was probably over 4 years ago. Like, it's such a weird kind of relationship that we have. And when I got depressed, I was happier being alone for a long time. So I kind of self-isolated in that kind of way. So making those connections was difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays it's hard to go and see people, and it's hard to get out. I mean, it's nice because we have this. Do you know what I mean? I'm able to like have a social interaction. It might not be face to face, but have a social interaction. I have people to talk to that have similar interests, rather than kind of like just, I don't know, like chatting shit with the boys. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that's all it is at the minute. Like, as much as I love them to bits, if I scrolled through the group chat, 118 messages, it'd be abuse, some girl, abuse.
Classic lads chat, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and actually, like, there are times where, because I'm fortunate enough to have the dogs, and I'm fortunate enough to have like a dog walk close enough, I meet up with the friends and we socially distance and walk the dog in, like, you know, when it's appropriate in the fields and stuff. And it's nice to I think it's nicer for them than it is for me. Do you know? It feels like I'm doing them a favor because I'm getting them out of just seeing their girlfriends or their roommate for the entire 24 hours of their life, 7 days a week. So and they're getting out, and it's not for long. It's normally like 45 minutes at a push, but we try and do it at least once a week. And it's probably happened about 6 times since October, but it's like, when it does happen, it's not like I can feel them feeling relieved, which makes me feel good. Do you know what I mean? Like, they feel a lot of tension. They just come out, we talk, we might, we'll talk about a serious topic or the news, or just what's going on in their day-to-day lives, how their work's going, whatever you want to talk about. It's nice just forget that there's a pandemic.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's worth tagging on to the end of that as with you and your friends that you meet up with, And as with me and reaching out to Char and dragging him along into Warzone games, which neither of us can stand, if you're in a position where you don't even need to necessarily be worried about your friend, but I think reaching out to your friends and just saying, hey, do you want to hop on for a couple of games, or just something as basic as that, makes one hell of a difference, because it made one hell of a difference to me. And as you say, you can see it in their face when they have just got almost that escapism from something just so basic.
Yeah.
I think it means a lot to a hell of a lot of people who could be feeling incredibly lonely and vulnerable at this time.
I was walking with one of them, and he's not a gamer at all. And he bought a Nintendo Switch and has completed 4 Pokemon.
That's impressive.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how bored he is. Like, he's just gone straight up, bought a Nintendo Switch, completed 4 Pokemon games. Now he's bought an Xbox and Cold War. It's just like...
biggest mistake of his life.
Fuck yeah. What games he could have got into? He got into Cold War. Fuck
that's what they would play. I'm like...
Who mentioned Cold War to Ben?
I haven't even bought it. He's only played it on my account. Played about 3 games trying to level some guns up for me and said this is shit and has never been on it again.
I agree. It's definitely worth reaching out there, because it's such small gestures can go such a long way. Do you know, like yourself reaching out 100%. To Charley, just playing a few games of Warzone, or like Charlie's mentioned earlier on in the videos, that ringing someone at a ridiculous time, or to talk about some absolute bollocks that may not seem relevant to us, but is relevant to him, and it's helping him like in some kind of form or way. It's like those small little things that mean nothing to you or take no time at all from you go, so far for other people. And I think that's the most important part about it.
100%. I think just as the last touch on loneliness, once again, as I'm going to say this as a streamer, content creator, public figure sort of thing, it's quite a niche job. It's not like a normalized job, and it's getting more and more normal each year, each month, as more people go full time or start making a bit of income from streaming and stuff. But to do it actually full time is an opportunity that not a lot of people will get. Even those who want to get there might not ever get there. I'm fortunate enough to be in the position, but to accompany that comes a lot of smaller things that a lot of people don't really realize. Streaming is an incredibly lonely thing, and I think part of that is down to how niche it is as a career path, as a job in general. Not a lot of people.
Do you mean lonely in the way of sort of like, if you had an office job, you could go and talk to Mike, who's in the stall next to you, and whilst you may not necessarily like each other, you still talk to each other, and in your position, you don't really have that immediate contact when
there's a couple of different versions of loneliness. Even there's the idea that no one really understands. I haven't ever really spoken to anyone that isn't a streamer themselves that has necessarily understood the problems that I've gone through, and I've spoken to other streamers about it as well, and they completely agree. A conversation that I was having with John the other day was that he had said about, just general problems like the hate that you get as a streamer, because believe you me, there is a lot. Even on videos that I posted fucking months ago, there's still the odd comment that comes up in my notifications, and it's like, what's this? There's some random geezer calling me some stupid Austin Powers looking faggot cunt, and I'm like, great, cheers, mate. And that, even things like that can just put a damper on your day sort of thing. But like, people don't necessarily understand that. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy from an onlooker's perspective to just say, brush it off, it's just a comment, who cares? But sometimes it's like you just don't understand that can be quite overwhelming when you get that potentially hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. If not even sometimes 2 or 3 times is enough to tip you over the edge. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're in a shit mood anyway, because you've been going through other stuff or whatever. Like, and then there's the loneliness aspect of my days go along the lines of, there is my bed. Right? That is where I wake up. This is my office. There is no separation, and the lack of separation and the lack of a home and work life as opposed to just a work life at home. And anyone who's been working from home during the lockdown will probably understand me as well, in the sense of it feels lonely getting up and your commute is 3 paces out of your bed to sit here. I mean, most of my mornings I'll wake up at whatever fucking time I wake up, I'll chug a bottle of water to at least freshen me up a little bit, put a jumper on, sit there in my pants and a jumper, editing a video, answering all the fucking dozens of messages I've got. And the weird thing is it sounds really contradictory. I speak to hundreds, if not thousands of people every single day. And yet, it's not meaningless, but it almost feels meaningless to you. To that person, it may have meant a lot, but to you, it's like, fuck, I'm drained now. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not drained because of interaction. I'm drained more, if anything, because of the lack of. Do you know what I mean? Trying to console someone that you can't see who's come in your stream chat and said, I lost so-and-so today, or this happened to me today, and you're trying to make it better for them, is it really fucking hard to do when you can't see their face and you can't see what's going on. And it kind of makes it feel really lonely because you're trying to solve problems without being there. It's like, if someone comes to me with a problem, the first thing I do is give them a fucking hug, and I'm like, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Something's gonna get easier. If it doesn't get easier, you're gonna get better at dealing with it, and you're gonna plow on through. You can't fucking do that, and because of the amount of problems that you get given as a streamer each day, as someone that people potentially look up to or take solace in, and it's almost like a hairdresser. You tell your hairdresser all sorts of shit that you wouldn't tell anyone else. You know what I mean? It's almost like people take solace in you as a streamer, and they'll tell you things they might not tell other people. And that's really difficult to cope with sometimes, when it's like, I would just like to give this poor individual a cuddle and just say it's okay. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of will play on your mind then, because there have been times where people have come in and have told me about someone that they've lost. And I'm like, I want to give you a hug and just say it's going to get easier. Do you know what I mean? I want to give you a hug and say it's okay. Like, this isn't it. There's more to it. You know what I mean? And you can't do that. And you're trying to solve a solution where your emotions are completely on show on screen and you can't see what's going through their faces. Do you know what I mean? And that's incredibly, like, isolating in terms of that. And it's quite a horrible feeling sometimes. I don't begrudge it at all, but it can be pretty fucking draining and pretty fucking lonely. And I know that a lot of the streamers that I've spoken to will agree with me there. And if you are a streamer and you're watching this, or a content creator and you're watching this and you agree and you understand what I'm saying, please do let me know, because I'd be interested to see what other people's thoughts are on that. Do you know what I mean? Because it is quite a bizarre feeling. I've never felt it prior to going full-time streaming. Do you know what I mean? Because there is no way to kind of share that load with anyone else, because, like I said, it's such a niche job that no one understands. I'm not saying that's only prevalent in content creators. Like, there are other really niche jobs out there that you might go home and try and explain to your family, like, this happened at work today, and they're like, the fuck? What does that mean? Why has that pissed you off? Why is that upsetting? Or why has that made you happy? And even the things that you're trying to celebrate, like, I remember a few weeks ago when we hit 20k, or a month ago, whenever the fuck it was, I went and sat in with my mum in the front room after, and we hit 20k. 20,000 people. 20,000 people! When you say 20k, it kind of sounds kind of underwhelming. When you actually think how many people 20,000 is an incredibly large number, and it's a scary number as well. And my mum just kind of sat there like, that's cool. What's the next goal? And it's like, let me get over this one first. Do you know what I mean? Didn't really understand. And I don't know if that's maybe a generational thing, because people that are more my mum's age, sort of 40s and 50s, don't tend to be... it's not normalized for them, really, is it? I don't even think it's normalized for me personally. I still find it bizarre every day that I wake up and don't actually have to go to work. If I don't want to do fuck all throughout the day, I won't do fuck all. I'm just either not going to make as much money or not be as successful in the long run. But, you know, it's one of those bizarre things. It really is. And I think even under the bracket of, like, self-employment as well, or running your own business, you choose how much you want to put into that. And it's kind of hard to either put a cap on it, like put a maximum on it, to say, at some point I need to stop working, take a step back and switch off from it. And then there's also, there'll be the people that are completely, don't really give much of a fuck about it at all, and are just like, don't matter if I don't do anything. You know what I mean? And it's quite a lonely way of living, almost. And I think that's amplified for me at the minute, at least. I used to be incredibly social on my bike, things like that. And when I slowed down on riding, it became a lot more difficult for me as well. But also, like, even now, if I wanted to go and have a social interaction with someone, go for a pint at the pub, you can't do that because of lockdown. Do you know what I mean? And it makes it really hard, because the few social interactions I might normally have, I can't have at the moment. I haven't been a full-time streamer for long, and I haven't been a full-time streamer when the world is quote-unquote normal. So how is my life going to change when this goes back? And one of the things back leading into anxiety and fear of failure is when world goes normal, our view's going to drop because people will be about for less time, going to have less free time. But also, am I going to live a healthier life because I'll be out more talking to people? Am I going to be mentally more happy? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. There's all these questions that are going to riddle people for a long time, and some questions I guess you'll never get the answers to. But I suppose it's a bizarre one for me.
So, the stress of having a baby with a Scottish woman. Honestly, I can't understand anything she says.
Daddy, I'm hungry. That's what your kid's going to sound like, and you won't understand that either. It's beautiful. But no, on a level, like, what is it? What goes through your head? Obviously, I remember the phone call that you and Amy initially had when you first told me. When you first found out, what first went through your head? How has that had implications on you now? You're going to be uprooting a big portion of your life to move up to Scotland to be the best father and lover that you can possibly be. What stress comes alongside accompanying that? Because you're changing a lot for a big change.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was like, I think it was end of October we found out. It was a Tuesday. I remember specifically it was a Tuesday night because I was just about to go to bed. And she went into the toilet and took a pregnancy test, and I just heard her go, my head just went, oh, fuck. I was like, I'm going to have to move to Scotland. Like, that was literally my first thought was, I'm going to have to fucking move. I don't want to move.
And you were pretty fresh into your new job at the same time, weren't you? How long have you been working with your mum?
2 weeks.
Yeah, well, there you go.
2 weeks into my new job. Like, it was like, yeah, so after that, it was like, right, you're going to take another one in the morning, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. So she did, and she was obviously, like, came back positive, and I was like, right, well, you need to tell your family, and then obviously I need to tell mine. I wanted to do it in person. I wasn't flying home till the Sunday, and this was Wednesday. Met her mum, told her mum, got that out of the way, and I was like, right, I'll worry about telling my parents another day. Kind of still in shock, do you know what I mean? Like, I still couldn't believe I was going to have a kid. Like, it was just, like, beyond me at this point. Met the rest of her family, and it kind of sunk in Friday night, Saturday morning, that I had to go and tell my parents that I got a girl pregnant, was going to move to Scotland, and quit the job I just started 2 weeks ago.
You go, girl.
No, how they were going to take
Grabbing
it.
life by its fucking horns, baby. That's all that is.
Yeah, very much. They've met Amy once at this point as well for like 2 days. So I didn't know they were going to take it. And I was shitting it. Like, I was panicking so hard because I've had plenty of arguments with my parents before, and which have resulted in me leaving or being, chucked out of the house for much less of a reason than getting a girl pregnant. So I was
it's probably one of the biggest things you'll ever tell your parents.
Yeah.
By the way, lads, start listening. Like, get ready for this one day.
Yeah.
Just shaking their head.
Ben, I'd like to make a promise to you now, Ben. If we ever get a bird pregnant, we'll run away together.
We.
We're in this together, Ben. We'll move to nowhere. We'll go off grid, and we'll
Off the grid.
We'll farm
going
each
Norway,
other.
mate.
We'll go to Norway. We're going to live in a log cabin in Alaska. But yeah, go on, carry on.
Taking the PC.
So it gets to Saturday, and I'm like, right, I've got a plan in my head. I'm going to get the plane home. Mum's going to pick me up from the airport. I'll tell Mum in the car. Mum will help me tackle Dad. And if I get a good reaction off Mum, I can tell Dad. If it's a bad reaction, I just won't go home. Do you know what I mean?
I'll be getting a train down to Charles, and I will tell him while I'm there.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, they were actually away on holiday in Norfolk or something like that, and my mum had gallstones, just developed them. So she was in hospital overnight Saturday, which meant she wasn't going to come pick me up on Sunday, which meant I had to tell Dad first, which was, mine and my dad's relationship is rocky, to say the best. So I was like, that's a fucking no, because if he kicks off, I'm stuck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking dead stuck with no money. So it got to Sunday. I was flying at like 5 or 6 o'clock. I was sitting in the airport, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. I'm just gonna fucking text them. So I created a WhatsApp group chat with me, my mum, and my dad, and wrote this big old speech out. And it was about 10 minutes before I was about to board the plane, and they hadn't read it. So I fucking added them both. They just didn't read it. I fucking text them, miscalled them, everything. But Dad reads it, and I'm like fucking shitting it. It says like typing for ages. Congrats. See what I was like, all right, is that it? He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, sick. And literally got in the car, and he was like, well then, I guess congratulations are in order. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit fucking mad. I mean, since then, it's kind of, you know, it's still a big shock. It's like, I think the biggest stresses are trying to find a job. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, I've worked since I was 16, so I've worked like 10 years. I've never not had a job. I did university part-time so I could work. I've always jumped between jobs, whether it be part-time, agency, whatever it is. Not having a job is kind of a scary thought to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the current climate as well, I kind of want something stable.
Yeah.
I'll kind of want to stay in the same profession as well, but then I know that Scotland have different qualifications, so it's like there's a lot of things that need to go in. To be honest,
barriers.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's even
Subtitles.
legit. I'm talking like phonics language barriers with children, bro. Like that's legit.
You just got to say it, but say it angry. A.
Let's just not antagonise anyone who may be watching from Scotland.
I
I was about to say, there go all our Scottish viewers.
I won't tell you where I'm going. But yeah, and like that's just getting the job. That's not even like dealing with the amount of kid shit that's being bought. Do you know what I mean? Like it's stockpiling. My mum, Amy, sends me like fucking messages of, "Oh, this looks good." Now I'm like, never heard of that in my life. What does this do? I mean, like, my mum, like I bought some fucking secondhand stuff the other day, and I thought it was like a bouncer, and it was a mat. Well, we got a mat, and I was like, well, that was a waste of money. Like, I'm just buying shit. I don't even know what I'm buying. Like, I kind of feel prepared in the terms of like the nappy stuff, and like, you know, kind of those responsibilities, because I'm quite familiar with that. But like the stress of the supporting a family, I guess, is very daunting. I mean, in a weird kind of toxic way, I kind of try and just push it away. Kind of like in the way I kind of deal with stress is I'll deal with that particular stress point when it comes to it. So
yeah, it's not a problem now. I won't deal with it right now.
In June, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So right now my priorities are finding a job. So, you know, I'm like sorting my CV out. I've done a cover letter, etc., etc. I've been looking at schools in the local area, and it's kind of putting those things at place actually puts me at ease a little bit. It's like once you start, I know it's quite far away still, but actually it's not far away. I plan to move up in April, which is 2-3 months away. So
scary when you say it like that, isn't it?
Yeah, when you say it like that,
12 weeks.
Actually, shit, bro. Like fucking 3 months ago, I only found out I was having a kid, and now 3 months I'm fucking moving. Like,
I think doing things bit by bit, as you're saying, you know, you're taking priorities not necessarily as they come, but you are taking it bit by bit instead of just letting it all overwhelm you at once and trying to sort everything out. I imagine that's going to be doing better for your own mental state than if you were trying to do just everything.
Making
not necessarily last minute,
is
but just
definitely a good way of dealing with things.
Yeah,
sure.
It's even though it's still difficult because it's like motivating yourself to do it. It's like it comes back. It's almost like an anxiety. It's like fucking I don't want to do it because I don't want it to come. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so scared of it coming that it's almost like if I don't do it, it ain't gonna happen. So then it won't come. But then if I don't do it, eventually it's gonna come, and it's just gonna be a backlog. So it's really hard to motivate yourself to kind of get up and do those things, like fucking get like job searching. I hate job searching, but like You got to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to sit down. It goes back to that prioritizing yourself, and you got to say, right, just an hour a day, hour an evening, 9 till 10, whatever it is. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna look at jobs.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna fill an application form out. If you do it once a night for 2 weeks, that's 14 applications. You might be able to get 2 in a night. You know what I mean? And those kind of small achievements add up, and it becomes less overwhelming to think about and to 100%. Deal with. Not that it isn't stressful at all, because every time I think, "Fuck, I'm having a mini me," I'm like, "Oh god."
Oh, but that's quite a cool idea, though, isn't it?
It's cool, but
gotta admit, there's.
Are you going to go completely bald and make the kid completely bald as well? So, like, we can double as you'll be my arch nemesis as Austin Powers and Dr. Evil with his mini me.
Yeah, God, fuck it.
I reckon Amy would go balmy if you went completely bald. I reckon she'd actually castrate you.
That's
quite
fine.
amusing, though. For the content. For the content.
Turning point. Then it needs a haircut, which I never thought.
Fucking hell.
I
need a haircut, man. Like, look at this shit. It's well long again.
Uh,
Don't start, Ben. So, as a university student, which in the UK is renowned as being perhaps some of the most stressful times in a young person's, if not a person's entire life, what's currently running through your head on a day-to-day, Ben?
Do you know what? This might sound weird, and to anyone who's currently sitting through sixth form or secondary school, I would like to point out that at the very least in my experience, this might be different for Cambridge and Oxford and like the big universities, but in my experience, sixth form, easily the most stressful point in my life. That time was
resat a year, though? I mean, you and I both had a shit time in sixth form, so
yeah, true.
I don't know if that was amplified.
I think it was amplified, at least on my end, just because I thought, right, this is my last chance of doing sixth form. I need to not cock it up. Sure enough, I cocked it up, but point still stands that was the most stressful point in my life, because that was the time where I was thinking, fuck, if I don't even get decent grades here, I've got no chance of uni, and then I've got like actually no life plan, because my plan did kind of revolve around going to uni. Which is the opposite to your plan, where you were always thinking, sod uni right off. I'm never going there.
I hated school.
But
I hated the idea of doing more school even more.
I'll admit, I much prefer uni I preferred uni when we weren't doing all this online teaching bollocks. But to anyone who is listening / watching in secondary school or in sixth form, take solace in the fact that this is the most stressful point in your life, and it does get easier afterwards. Not massively. Don't worry, there's still some stress coming, but for now you will find this incredibly stressful and you will hate it, but it will get easier. Now when you're at uni, the stress, it's still there, but it's by no means the same amount. Any assignment that comes through, as I said earlier, it still makes me shit myself the moment it comes through. The moment I hear about it, I'm like, oh fuck, it may only be worth 10%. But if I don't get that 10%, then what if I cock up the exam at the end of the year, and that 10% could be all I need to maybe go on or to get the result, the overall result that I'm after. And finding ways to de-stress is difficult when you're sitting there with 3-4 deadlines coming up of big papers that you've got to write, or just even like online quizzes that you've got to do. It does add up, and you do sit there, and all you really want to do is lie in bed and hope that it all goes away. It doesn't, sadly. I've tried that. It didn't work very well.
You'll go down the pub and wait for it all to blow over.
Yeah, no, literally, that is that.
Maybe we'll do a topic of how many film and series quotes we can just accidentally slip into an entire podcast, until people got it on. So, as at uni, Ben, do you think it alleviates some of the stress running off of the back of it is completely down to you to do it and completely down to you to fuck it up? You almost don't have the stress of people breathing down your back quite as much. Do you know what I mean?
I think to me at least that's definitely helped me feel less stress at uni. I feel way more in control of my own studies when I know that. Okay, yeah, you still have lectures to turn up, but the majority of learning you are doing yourself. And obviously at school it's a completely different dynamic. And all the teachers say that a lot. Once you get to uni, you won't have us guiding you through. And arguably, that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I can go at my own pace, I can learn my own thing, and it's brilliant. So I'd say it's helped me more than anything. But I do know there are people who massively struggle. My sister is one of them, especially when she started uni and she was so used to, getting the work. She'd do the work, she'd do all the extra work that was set, and she got 3 A stars at A level because she's a nerd. But she got to uni and she was then sort of at a loss because suddenly there wasn't someone telling her what to do all the time, and she consequently actually overloaded herself with work. And for the first semester or so, she found herself incredibly stressed out by the amount of work she was doing. Yeah. And I tried to explain to her, you don't need to be doing this much. I get that's what you did in secondary school, but you don't need to do that much anymore. Go at your own pace kind of thing. And sure enough, she hasn't listened to me. But then again, I probably wouldn't listen to me either. But yeah, no, it's stressful. I think doing it on your own helps to a degree, but also does increase stress because it's all on you. So it's like, right, if I don't do this now, I have spurs of the moment where suddenly I'm really interested in doing uni work. If I don't take advantage of that, I know for a fact it's just going to come back to bite me in the arse when I realize the next day when I have no drive, oh shit, it's due in tomorrow, and now I can't be asked.
Yeah.
But in terms of alleviating the stress from uni, I think in the past I've gone for very bad habits. If I've been stressed or anxious about anything, it's been very much, let's go and have a fag, let's have another drink kind of thing. And it doesn't help. It's a short-term solution. In the long term, it would be a lot more helpful to do something along the lines of exercise. When I was at uni last year, the halls that I got were very close to a gym, and I found myself going to the gym more than I thought I would. And I'll be honest, it worked a treat.
Yeah,
I could be really stressed out by something. I'll go to the gym for a couple of hours, and I might not get loads done at the gym because I'm weak as shit and lazy. But I'd come out the arse end of it, and the stress would be gone. Yeah, the assignments were still there, but I was in a much better frame of mind to tackle them than, oh God, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. I get out the other side and I'd be like, right, well, I'm refreshed, I can take things bit by bit. So I would recommend exercise as much as it's difficult in today's climate. I'd recommend that rather than the easy option of going for a ciggy, going for another drink, tat like that. I understand why people do it. I mean, hell, I still do it. If anyone actually watches this podcast on YouTube rather than listens to it, you'll see me constantly puffing away. So I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah,
I would recommend a healthier outlet if it's possible for you, but don't put yourself down if you do cave in and have a cig to deal with something. Don't then sit there and think, oh fucking hell, why'd I do that kind of thing. Yeah. Try and think, right, well, that's done. I can't really unsmoke that cig. I might as well get on and do something and make it more productive than just me sitting there feeling sorry for myself.
100%.
Personally, that's what I'd recommend.
That's fair enough, mate. What about you, Pud, as once again in a general job? What are your day-to-day stresses or regarding family life, things like that? Is there anything that you go through that's particularly stressful with another kid on the way as well? Stress in terms of supplying for a family, things like that. What are those sorts of things that you might want to touch on?
Well, obviously at the moment it's it's a little bit stressful with the uncertainty of what's happening with everything and lockdown being in place, and like especially like from a month or so ago with a lot of uncertainty about keeping my job with redundancies coming up and everything. Like it's a bit daunting at the moment to try and stay focused, but that's exactly sort of what needs to be done, isn't it? Like you need to stay there. Like obviously I've got this, but I can't fall back on this. It's not secure,
I'd put you up as best as I could though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
like, I would prioritise you because you had a family over me. Like that. My bills aren't equating to as much as what come to you, and at the end of the day there would be ways that we could work it, but there's a reason we haven't made you full time with me yet. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. So yeah, but I don't know. It's just everything's just so uncertain, and that is very scary. Like, there's going to be a lot of people in the same position, isn't there? Like, obviously, all right, I'm not going to be the only one who's had a lockdown baby. Yeah, L.
So what about like in regards to the stress of like obviously with child on way and stuff, there are progressively more scans as it goes through the process, etc. And obviously hospitals at the minute, especially around where we live, are pretty riddled with Rona.
Yeah.
Is it, you know, what goes through your mind when you have to go for a scan with heavily pregnant Beck in a hospital filled with fucking Rona?
Unfortunately, I've had to sit in the car park for every scan. I haven't been able to be there. I'll just have to wait for her to come out with a little Polaroid. Well, it's not a Polaroid, but it seems like, isn't it? Like, especially like the difference between sort of like Madison, who was 8 years previous, like just the freedom we used to have. Like, you could walk into a hospital for like with your partner for a scan to see your baby that's grown inside her. But now you can't. It's just mad.
Would you say that you're more relaxed with baby number 2 on the way than you were with baby number 1? Would you say there was more stress with that one, or more stress with this one because of Rona, or just is there always stress with a kid?
I think there's more background stress with this one because obviously, as well as it was, I was still working. So even though we're working on reduced staff, I'm still having to go out every day to another place, work with people who live with other people, who are potentially meeting other people, hence increasing the chance of potentially getting Rona, and like not being able to be there for the birth of the new child, sort of thing. It's crazy. Like, it's mad to think. Like, obviously, everyone becomes your own support bubble, don't they? But then you don't know. These people, they've still got to travel to and from work. They've still got to go out and get food to eat, put fuel in their vehicles. There's so many ways that just the way coronavirus could be contracted as well. Like, it could be easily picked up and you won't know about it. What if you are one of these people who don't show any symptoms of having it, but you are carrying it and potentially giving it to other people as well? It's fucking scary at the moment, isn't it?
Do you think stress of baby number 2 is worsened by the fact that with baby number 1, everything was, by definition, normal in the sense of, you know, ultimately you go for a scan, you do this, you do that. And do you think maybe, Ben's DQ'd.
Hi,
do you think maybe that it's worsened with baby number 2 because it's not the same quota it was the first time round? Like, obviously the first time round it was not simple but simpler. This time it's not quite what you was expecting in regards to, because when you and Beck initially conceived was the heat of sort of the first lockdown, wasn't it? And following on from that, it was kind of hopes for regularity to return. You see countries like New Zealand that have handled it in a different way to us and have come out on a better spectrum. And maybe 6 months ago, we thought that by this point, things would be a lot more normal. Do you think maybe it's worsened that by the due date of 4 days now, and nothing has changed? Is that made it worse for you? Has that made it more stressful, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so in a way. Like, because obviously nothing is ever going to return to the way it was, is it? At the end of the day, and it's just like this life has to continue, but we've got to do it. I don't know. It's so strange. Like, everyone's bound to be. Well, I still hear people complaining about wearing a mask, but should it be really alien to them now? It's been like a year. Like,
that's a crazy part, isn't it?
You still got people who actively walked around the supermarket with it just covering their mouth and not over their nose.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Picking things up and putting them back down, touching everything that comes in sight. Yeah.
I'm so conscious about that. I will only pick up if you know what I'm like. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I'm doing this. And when I'm shopping, I'm like, yeah. But like I was saying to the other day, Beck writes the list down and I will do the shopping as fast as I can.
Yeah.
I know sort of whereabouts all these things are, and I will grab that, and I will only pick up the thing I'm putting in my trolley.
Yeah.
To get out of there with.
Just FYI,
Not
Ben's
everyone's-
broadband is cut out. That's why I was looking at my phone.
Oh.
He says he's trying to work on it, but we'll see. But yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Only pick up what you
what
need.
was I saying? Yeah, only pick up what you need, but not everyone's like that.
No.
I try and be as best as I can for myself and for other people at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I said before, no one wants to be that person who potentially gives it to other people that will literally end up killing someone.
Yeah.
Like if they're like elderly or anything like that. Like God forbid, my nan's in her 90s and I haven't seen her since the start of this properly. And that's like, I used to see her quite regularly.
Yeah.
Like as much as I
One
could
yeah.
with work and whatnot, but it's just mad to think.
Do you think, now this might just be me reading into it potentially a bit more, do you think because you saw what I went through firsthand with Rona and how it affected me and my life, losing my granddad, etc., do you think that's made it worse since that, potentially? Because you've seen, because ultimately, up until probably early November, I want to say, where we live was relatively untouched by it. You kind of heard of people, you never really saw it firsthand, and then all of a sudden, my whole family's got it. One of them's passed, and did that potentially make it more real for you, seeing that firsthand and experiencing? You was a butt of a lot of my emotions, and you was there for a lot of my grief initially. Did that make it worse for you potentially when having to go out and possibly interact with it, especially with Beck being so heavily pregnant at the time?
It's certainly an eye opener, isn't it? Like a lot of people will say they probably thought not much of it until it was literally in their face, sort of thing. Like it certainly was. Like, hello, child. Yeah, it's definitely scary, but even before everything that's happened with you and your family, I've always tried to at least be sort of semi-sensible. Like before all this, like especially between me and you, Charlie, it was like our interaction was we'd see each other quite regularly, even though like sort of going more into lockdown, even when you'd left work, so you weren't there anymore, and I was back there. Like I was able just to pop round and say hello and whatnot. Yeah, and we can't even.
Well, that was the thing. It's certainly been an eye opener for me, because I will be the first to admit that the first lockdown round, I was a lot more lax than potentially I should have been. And then I was still strict about it because I didn't need to leave the house for work, etc. My visitations, etc., were basically limited to you. And I think maybe I saw Ben a handful of times. And then when lockdown laxed a bit, we obviously went to London, out with Elle and stuff. And even then, my interactions with people were very limited. I went to the pub maybe a couple of times when they reopened for a bit. I went out for a few meals with Steph, and we went on days out and stuff. But at this point, I am now in a lockdown where I am almost like fearful of leaving. Do you know what I mean? I didn't contract it when my family had it. I was pretty scot-free. I didn't test positive. But it was like, for me, it's been an eye-opener, because I don't know, like, obviously, it's not even about whether you have it asymptomatically or symptomatically. It's about the fact of, even if you are, say, you've had it and you are considered immune for a little while, the idea of you touch a door handle that someone else has touched that has it, and then you touch another door handle, that doubles the potential spread of it. Do you know what I mean? And you could be just as liable to give it to someone as the person who already has it. And that's fucking scary to think about, really, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Crazy thought.
But I think in terms of everyone's life, this has just made things a whole lot more stressful in terms of like the general working public in their jobs, and how secure they're going to be in terms of finances in general. Like, obviously the government added in furlough schemes and rent holidays, etc., to try and alleviate some of that. But I don't think that ultimately it really has made much of a difference to the entire stressfulness of the situation as a whole. Because how many times in the average person's lifetime does a pandemic come about and affect the entire world and everyone has to go into lockdown and stay at home? Never for most people, really, is it? I mean, you know, if Ben and I do have kids one day, never going to happen in their lifetime. probably.
Well, let's hope not.
Well, let's hope not. But you know, I can guarantee for the last fucking 30 years of your life, but you never thought it would happen. And you know, and
you would have thought it would ever happen.
And our grandparents and their parents and stuff, they never thought it would happen. Them fuckers lived through wars, never thought that they'd be locking down in their homes for a virus. Do you know what I mean? It seems like a bizarre concept when you compare it to what was happening 100 years ago, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really does.
With modern
really
technology and medicine and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I don't know. I think in terms of stress as a whole, like I can safely say that like the last 2 months for me have maybe been some of the most stressful of my life. It outperforms exams, school, things like that, normal jobs that I've had. Like for me, it was when my granddad passed, my entire family crumbled, and it was kind of taking the weight of that on my shoulders, and that was a lot of stress. Trying to keep a hold of like the idea of organising a funeral. You know, I did a lot of the funeral organisation, things along those lines. I was a big part of it. Trying to be a binding glue between everyone else. And like as a whole, I was a full-time carer for my granddad as well. And it was one of the reasons why working so close to me was beneficial. And then being full-time streamer was even more beneficial because he was only next door. But it was still very stressful in terms of like, if that fucker fell over, it's down to me to get him up. Do you know what I mean? And he wasn't small. It was no easy task. I mean, I think you've helped me pick him up before, Pud. Some point in the past, I seem to remember it happened.
Yes, I remember saying happened.
Yeah. And, you know, things like that. And that was a lot of stress. And then it was a lot of stress after we passed. Now it's a lot of stress now because he was an incredible man. And I kind of stressed myself out unnecessarily, admittedly, to try and live up to even some sort of the standard that he was. Do you know what I mean? Because I never, ever, 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 ever knew a person who didn't like him, who he didn't have a positive impact on at some point in their life. Do you know what I mean? And that's, although not something I need to live up to, it's something that I will forever be in awe of, if anything. And it's kind of an expectation that you set yourself in reality, isn't it? Because he was a massive part of my life and I was incredibly close to him. So it's, you know, it's things like that. And I think ultimately that adds to the stress of running a business anyway, and a business that, quite frankly, is extremely volatile and could fall flat on its face at any one point in time. You know, if you say you run a car cleaning business, people are always going to want their cars cleaned. How long are people going to want to watch me talk shit for and fucking play a game for? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, then the stress comes of what happens when the next game releases. I remember leading into Cold War, the channel, compared to what it was doing now, it was doing okay. Like it was pretty shit compared to now. But even then, before Cold War dropped, I was stressed about what was going to happen when Cold War dropped. Would the views go up? Would they go down? Would they skyrocket? Would they plummet? Would the game go to a point where it's unplayable and we had to take a break from the game? And like the game itself was stressful anyway. And it's like stress comes and manifests itself in many different forms, doesn't it? And I can safely say that whether necessary or not, I am probably more stressed now than I've ever been, because from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep, I am working. And there is no switch off from it. And it's really hard to switch off from it, even if I want to. With modern technology, the only way I could possibly do it is to leave my phone indoors and go somewhere else. And with the way modern technology works, it's, you know, and the way the world is at the minute, phones are a big part of life and they are a big necessity. And because of that, it means I can't escape what I do. Do you know what I mean? And that maybe adds to the stress. I don't know. It's a weird one, stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost kind of, if you don't feel it, you feel weird. And if you feel it, it kind of makes it worse. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. Anything else to add on that, lads?
No.
Not particularly. I mean, I have one last question for everyone else. Obviously, you know, I have two ways of dealing with stress, which I highly recommend to everyone else: is exercise and watching or listening to the podcast. So what would everyone else...
You can find that on youtube.com/c/Halford Sucks under the beers and bullshit category.
But obviously there are my ways of dealing with stress. And I know that, you know, they're both very popular. But what would you guys recommend, or what do you guys do that you would say has helped you that could potentially help someone else?
I'm not going to start on this because mine is not a good version. Mine is not good. I'll let someone else start.
Fair enough.
I think we all have our own vices that we go to.
Yeah.
We all have our own toxic trades. And I'm not going to reveal that one, but
I think most people know yours.
Not in terms publicly though.
Wait until I edit this video with a massive.
Let's not.
No,
Going
fair
for
enough.
a walk, like taking a walk, even like down the river, around a park, through the town, just 5 minutes down the road, getting out, fresh air. Like it links to that exercise, but actually just getting out of the house and going somewhere different, going to another environment, moving away.
Yeah, taking yourself out of the situation kind of thing.
Exactly that. You can take yourself away from where the stress is and kind of give yourself a reliever.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the major things that helped me. And then another one, it does, even if say you can't go for a walk or move to a different area of the house and do something that interests you, whether it be reading a book, watching 20 minutes of a TV show, catching up on the news, something that's peaceful, something that doesn't require a huge amount of concentration, like actually getting up and moving. That it's important that you actually get up and move to another area, because otherwise you're just going to sit in kind of that headspace of wherever that stress is, and you need to take yourself away from it physically before you can 100%. Do it mentally.
100%.
Whether it is going for a walk or going to another room, banging Netflix on until that poxy message comes up. Are you still watching?
They do that to me way too frequently. When it's done it like 5 times in one night, you know you've binge watched for too long. But
it's daylight outside again. Oh no,
I've done it again.
But I have watched every episode of Rick and Morty tonight. Let's go.
It's an achievement, boy.
I
will now, for the next 24 hours, only speak in Rick and Morty quotes. Thank you and goodbye. But no, I completely agree.
Oh, I thought that was the end then.
That's quite good ending. I was happy.
I might cut it at that point and then just do a bleep and then come back. I think for me, a big stress relievant for me, as unhealthy as it is alcohol. And it's not like I'm sitting there getting fucking trashed every night. But for me, like a couple of beers, sitting back and watching some telly does help me out a lot. And it is still, even in moderation, pretty unhealthy. Because I know some days I feel myself becoming reliant on it. Last month, I drank so much fucking alcohol, like an unhealthy amount of alcohol. And I put that down to last month was a mixture of grief and stress. It was a big help for me because the loneliness, I'll probably tie everything in here together. The loneliness and mixed alongside with the grief and the stress of running a business, losing my granddad, and just generally not being able to go out and socialise with people. The way I combated that was I would sit there, I would watch some telly, and I'd have a few beers, and that helped me out phenomenally. Until I kind of got to a point where I felt comfortable enough to be on my own without having to drink. Do you know what I mean? Because the worst part for me in terms of grieving was when I wasn't doing something and I was alone. And even now, like I'll still find myself sitting there on my own in tears. Like a really bad time for me was like showers. Because normally you can surround yourself with technology, which inadvertently surrounds you with people and social interactions on the internet and things like that. You can't do that in the shower unless you want to get your phone wet, which no one really does, and it's weird to message someone in the shower, I guess. And showers for me, I would go for a shower and it would be like an hour before I went live and I'd get myself in a fucking state, and then I'd be like, right, that's it, snap out of it, come back, and then I would sit there in a bit of a shit mood throughout the entire stream, and I'd finish stream, or even before I'd finish stream sometimes, I'd have to crack a beer just to get me through the end of it. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, I hated that, and I hate that I was becoming reliant on it. So please don't turn to alcoholism. Something else. Exercise is a good one, because I used to exercise a lot. Unfortunately, that is not ruled out, but it's a lot more difficult for me now because of my leg. I guess for me, I like this. This is a big vice for me. This is an incredible way for me to be able to take a step back, sit and chat with the lads, talk about my problems. Do you know what I mean? It's quite nice. I find a lot of
satisfaction.
Not even satisfaction. I take solace in doing this. Do you know what I mean? And when we did the first podcast, I came off of the first podcast fucking buzzing. I was like, that was amazing. I'm so glad we did that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've had loads of fun tonight, I have to admit.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is ultimately quite a serious topic, and it is a lot more harder to enjoy the topic necessarily. Not in like a nasty way, but just enjoy it in terms of we're trying to keep a serious attitude about it and not joking about as much. But like on like the last few at least, I don't know about you, Ben, but I've certainly come away with a big buzz after it. Like that's so much fun.
I've had an absolute ball. So anyone who is listening and wants more, anyone who's listening and doesn't want more, too bad, you're getting it.
Comment comments. Feed us.
But yeah,
feed our podcast
He's now
addictions.
Tech God Ben, podcaster.
Beers and bullshit / Tech God Ben.
But no, I'll admit I fully agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would appreciate the podcast nearly as much as I do in terms of just having that moment to take myself
nice
away.
little vice, isn't it?
I've talked about uni and stuff, but it takes me completely out of that world. So maybe it's worth for you listening at home if you're sitting there and you've got those people that you talk to. Maybe it is just worth sitting there in a call, not necessarily playing games or anything, but just having a chat about any random bollocks that comes to your mind. And just take yourself away from it, at least mentally, for a while, and see if that would do anything. So as I mentioned in the last segment, if it made it in, I was considered one of the outcasts when I got to secondary school. I had just started hitting puberty, and obviously surrounded by a load of year 7s who have no idea what puberty really is yet. They were confused when this big man with greasy hair and a greasy face and spots all over it turned up with a relatively deep voice. And basically that continued for a while. For a while, a lot of people really didn't understand, which obviously didn't help on the making friends front, and led to a lot of bullying of me and who I felt worse off for, people I was friends with. And then I decided, fuck it, I'm going to grow my hair out, which must have been around about year 8, because I think I just gave up on people. And it didn't look great. I'll be honest, it really was not a look. My hair was really greasy because I didn't understand how you actually had to have an upkeep for long hair. I thought it was a bit like short hair where you just wash it occasionally, it'll be fine. So, long greasy hair, face riddled with spots. At this point, I had a really bad case of acne on my back and on my front and on my shoulders and fucking everywhere. It was horrific. And obviously that didn't exactly do me any favors either. That was considered very weird because some people got away. There's one kid that I know who I was always eternally jealous of because he just seemed to hit puberty a day later. He was absolutely fine, which obviously didn't help. And I distinctly remember there was one day I was sitting on the train and I could hear a load of people in my year behind me, and something flicked inside of me when one of them just turned around and said, "Oh my God, have you seen Ben? His hair looks so retarded." And like looking back on it now, that means nothing to me. I couldn't give a shit. But at the time, I was like, wow, that really fucking hurt. Surprisingly, more than I thought it would. Because I wanted to be liked. I didn't, I don't think there's many kids out there who don't want to be liked. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be friends with people. So to hear people immediately calling it gay and retarded and shit was like, ouch. And after that, something did flick inside of me where I realized, you know what? Fuck you cunts. You're all bellends anyway.
Yeah.
And then I think my mum realized how bad my acne was, went to the doctor, and I got put on a really heavy acne drug called Roaccutane. And a few of you may have been on it or know about it. It is a drug for, or also used for skin cancer therapy. So it's not easy on the body. So my skin was all dry, my eyes were dry, my lips, they dried up completely. I remember when I wake up in the morning, I'd open my mouth to yawn. And if I was yawning in front of the mirror, I could see the skin on the edge of my lip actually snap open and start bleeding, which was interesting. And because of that as well, all of my hair started falling out. It all got incredibly dry and just started falling out, which didn't do me any favors for self-confidence. If being called gay and retarded all day wasn't bad enough, I now had horrible hair, even worse than before. So that didn't do me any favors either. And I'm lucky that my hairline wasn't that bad at the time. Now it's horrific, and you'll see it in the past episodes. If you watch this on YouTube, my hairline is pretty bad. I've got like the McDonald's M going on up here, the golden arches, which now I look at and laugh because I've just kind of accepted it at this point, But at the time, I was like, oh my god, I have a 5 head, which at the time was quite an insult, which sounds weird, but it was, calling someone a 5 head and saying they got a massive forehead was like, oh, okay. So everything culminating at once was a massive hit to my self-confidence. And as much as I got some of it back, some of it I haven't got back, and I'm not sure if I ever will, which is disappointing to hear. And I do think that the bullying and the name calling and all of that shit, where it shouldn't have affected me looking back on it. I did grow thicker skin because of it, but obviously that initial part really hit close to the core and close to home. And I think a lot of that I'm never going to get back. And part of me is okay with that. Part of me is really depressed that actually happened, and really depressed that I know in schools that will forever happen. And frankly, ruins people's lives. I'm not saying it's ruined my life necessarily, but I do think it can have such an adverse effect on people that will really impact what they then do for the rest of their life. And I'm not sure if anyone else has had experience with this they'd like to share, or whether we want to keep this relatively short, or...
I think bullying is such a predominant thing in the world currently. Probably at schools yourself. I know I was bullied heavily in primary school. I don't know if Hal can vouch for that still being a massive issue, but as a creator online, you put yourself in the spotlight every single day, and you experience that quite a lot. In the workplace as well, I used to experience it at work. I was incredibly young in comparison to everyone that I worked with. Everyone else was mostly about 20 to 30 years older than me. And, those who are different are those who get the shit ripped out of them. Do you know what I mean? So I was the butt of a lot of jokes. I don't know. It was bullying. I didn't necessarily see it that way. My skin had grew to be pretty thick at that point after years of torment at school, etc. But it was pretty shitty. It did make work unbearable to an extent. I like to work on my own because of it. I think that kind of amplified why I prefer being alone now in my job. I do like the fact that I work alone to some extent. But yeah, no, it can definitely have effects on people as a whole. Do you know what I mean? And I know people who have ended their own lives because of bullies. I know people who have ended up in hospital because of bullies, and it's had incredibly bad long-term effects. I used to get the shit beaten out of me when I was younger. And it's one of those things that I guess is always going to be a problem, regardless of schemes and things like that at schools and at workplaces and discrimination acts and stuff. There's always going to be bullying and discrimination against those who are different, and regardless of why they're different. The reason I was bullied in primary school is because I was clever, and I went to a school of people who weren't clever. You know what I mean? And because I stood out, because I could do the fucking maths questions on the board, that was why I was picked on. That, and I didn't like football, and they were all little fucking football goons. And so they'd be all out playing football, and I'd be doing like year 7 maths in year 3. Do you know what I mean? So that was why. And it seems I find the concept of bullying someone who is for being clever, I find that fucking bizarre. You know what I mean? Why bully someone who has worked on themselves to get to a point where they're at? You know what I mean? It just seems counterintuitive, if anything. It's like you should be the one that's getting fucking bullied by the clever people because you're an arsehole. Do you know what I mean?
That's like a jealous type of bullying, though.
It is, yeah, it is. And I've seen it as a streamer after seeing success as well. I've had shit from people that maybe don't understand my success or why I've had the success I've had thus far, that have given me shit for that.
It's always going to happen.
It's always going to happen. Whether you're a complete failure or a complete success in someone else's eyes, they're going to give you shit for it because
unless people actually understand what you're doing, there is always going to be that comment of "get off your ass, stop playing games, and get a job." But this is my job.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for you, mate, you may not realise it, but I'm probably earning more money than you are sitting here on my ass playing a game.
I'm also probably doing a lot more work than they're doing. And that's no disrespect to anyone else, but I have worked in multiple different factions. I've been in security, I've been in catering, I've been in maintenance, I've been in all sorts of different things. And I can safely say that my work days are longer now. I work harder now. I have to think a lot more for myself as well. And that's one of the hardest parts, is when you go to a normal job, you have someone tell you what to do. There's a procedure. There's things that you do and don't do. I don't have any of that. I make it up as I go along, and that can be quite difficult sometimes. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What about in schools, El? Like seeing it from a third person perspective now.
I think bullying comes in many forms, and I think it's important to realise that even if someone doesn't take offence to it, it's still bullying.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And whether that person is aware they're being bullied or not aware, the bullying is still taking place. And you see that in schools where children are aware they're being bullied and where they aren't aware they're being bullied as well. I think the biggest kind of bullying impact you can see is over like a long time span. So I worked in the school I worked in for 7.5 years. So I saw an entire year group through my time, if you like. And when I left, actually, they were in year 6 and they were my first reception class. And the children that were classed as different, the children that had special educational needs, the ones that were less mature, so like kind of your August, June babies, July, the ones that, you know, used to run around the classroom going absolutely haywire, were still friends in year 6.
Yeah.
They still received the same treatment from their peers as they did in reception.
Yeah.
And there's one little boy who I work very closely with who always stuck out to me. He had autism and he was bullied quite a lot, and mainly because he couldn't quite understand what was going on. He more thought that the interaction that he was getting from his peers was a social positive interaction. So he would do things that he was asked, you know, but every lunchtime he would sit alone, and it'd break my heart because every time he'd go outside, he'd be surrounded by 5 or 6 of those lunatic boys that were just, you know, tormenting him in certain ways.
To do shit and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, and that did later on have effects on him coming into school. He, you know, eventually displayed that he didn't like it and that these certain people were making him feel a certain way. And then that eventually was addressed. But that took, you know, years. And it is going to have an effect on it. And there are loads of cases. I mean, the one that stuck out to me the most, which you see quite a lot, is music genres. If you don't fit in with the type of music in kind of today's generation, you're an outcast. And there was one little boy who, like, his dad was like showed a big interest in music with him, and he used to listen to like 80s rock bands. And during when I was a PE coach, I would, if we were inside, I would put songs on YouTube, guaranteed they were clean. And like I remember him requesting this whatever particular like metal song it was, and I almost didn't want to put it on. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew it would receive such a negative response from the other children that they would then pick on him for it. Yeah. But unfortunately, you have to learn lessons in life. So I put it on, and I defended him afterwards. Do you know what I mean? I still did my part. That, you know, I did the whole speech about people like different things and stuff like that. But from that point on, in every future lesson, it was don't let him choose a song. Don't let him choose. And, you know, you have to put a stop to it. But they'd already made a decision in their heads that he was never choosing a song in their class. Yeah. Because of this one particular, because he enjoyed playing music with his dad or sharing an interest.
It's crazy that music and things like that can cause such a divide in schools. You know what I mean? I know Ben and I both had different tastes in music compared to everyone at school as well.
Oh, yeah.
Even compared 100%. To each other. Like, and we both got shit for that as well. It's crazy. Yeah. That was in secondary school, when you'd think that people would at least mature beyond the point of oh my god, he listens to rock music, not. I
They
can't.
can't-
I can't even
Even
think of
when
pop
I was
music.
in
I think of
secondary, it's
Justin
the same.
Bieber. I just picture all of these like fucking wankers at school that gave me so much shit listening to Justin Bieber, and I'm like, I know that wasn't what they listened to, but that's how I think about it. And I guess I don't know. That was maybe one of the things that got me through it. Was this cunt's listening to JB, and I'm sat here listening to AC/DC. Like, who's the real weirdo?
Well, it
Yeah,
kind of
it
pulls back to the whole click thing that we was discussing.
It does.
before,
Yeah, it
doesn't
does.
Like
Yeah.
every single clique will have their own genre of music. Like, so, well, these guys are listening to R&B. These guys are listening to rock. But these guys are listening over here. They listen to rock, but they also listen to grunge. Like,
Yeah.
hold on a minute.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
there are always like subcategories and crossovers and stuff, but ultimately, there was definitely divisions due to music and things like that, which was
Yes, yeah,
baffling.
it's incredible how much division there is over certain subjects and different things like that. And it is the base of bullying.
It's funny now, like even as an adult, I am very much more in tune with like older music, more like 70s, 80s, 90s kind of style stuff. But there are also bands that I like that are more modern, more like 90s, early 2000s, that are still kind of looked upon by people my age as bizarre. Like, I love Supergrass. Supergrass are one of my all-time favourite bands. So is Madness, and so is Elbow. They're like three of my all-time favourite bands. And when people say to me, like, you know, if you could see anyone at a concert, who would you like to see? Now, I saw Supergrass last year, and it was incredible. They sung Grace, and Grace is one of my all-time favourite songs. If you haven't listened to it, I urge you to go and listen to it. It's quite a short song, but I grew up listening to that. And I remember when my dad used to work in London, and he'd take me up to London for the day to go to work with him. We'd have Supergrass's Best Hits album on, fucking full volume, right? And I would make him play Grace on repeat. I didn't give a fuck. I just remember the when we jumped all night on your trampoline, when we kissed the sky. You know what I mean? I loved it, man. I loved it. I could still probably sing it word for word now. I really could. And we was meant to see Elbow at the beginning of lockdown, and then obviously lockdown. So we'll be seeing them. I think it's rescheduled for September. Obviously, taking that with a pinch of salt, because who knows? Yeah. And I would always Madness is always top of my list. I would love to see Madness live. Fuck off, Pud. I know you've seen Madness live. But still, to this day, saying that to people that are my age or even slightly older than me, sometimes I get the fucking strangest looks. Yeah. And it's like, why is it a big deal now? Do you know what I mean? Have we not matured past the idea of music being popular because it's in the charts? Do you know what I mean?
So hard to be accepting.
It really is. It really is. It's actually baffling.
Like, what different? It makes no odd to my life what music you listen to.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we might not be able to vibe out in the car as much, but whatever you put on, I'm gonna sing along to.
Like, it makes no difference. So why would I receive it negatively? That's what baffles.
That's well, the crazy part.
It's because people use it as you listen to something alternative, or in my case, it was you listen to Infant Annihilator.
I was waiting for this to get brought up.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing. It's like, because I'd listen to some crackhead death metal, and don't get me wrong, I couldn't understand half the lyrics myself, but I enjoyed the music.
I used to like a bit of Infant Annihilator as well. Like after I found it was what you listened to, and I listened to this before we even knew each other. I listened to it. I was like, I could see why I could get behind this. But no one understood what they were saying. They didn't understand what they were saying.
No, they didn't. No, they definitely didn't. I mean, but I knew that they were cocking around because one of their music videos is them going to the woods and bumming each other with big logs. So, that kind of shows what I listen to. But I think people use it as a pedestal, and people use it as you listen to weird death metal. Oh, well, I listen to Queen, so they're infinitely more popular, and I think I'm better than you because of it.
The funny part was that it wasn't even like real Queen. It was like the three well-known songs from Queen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It'd be the first 3 tracks off their greatest hits, and then they'd be like, "Well, I don't know anything else."
All I listen to in the car, me old man. Sorry,
I've got this.
Yeah,
don't you
exactly.
worry about that.
I've watched Suicide Squad. Do you know what I mean? But it's crazy that things as little as music can cause such a big divide in schools, in adult life. You know what I mean? It really is. It just seems so fucking irrelevant. But it's still obviously a prominent problem.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's literally all the world's problems wrapped up under music, though,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
if everyone just listened to the same music, there would be no wars. That's a joke. Don't take that to heart. But you know, I always fall back to music as a like an anchor point for me. There are very, very few times that I'm not listening to music. I don't know, it helps me function. It's helped me through grief. It's helped me through other such things. And the fact that people to this day will still pick on the fact that I have a peculiar music taste to people my age. It's like, I've even been picked on by like fucking 40, 50-year-old men for liking the same music as them. And they're like, why do you like this shit? Don't you like XX and Y? And I'm like, you just are a penis, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Fucking lemon. But, you know, fire when ready.
All right. Yeah, it's obviously some of the topics are difficult to talk about tonight, but I think it's important to talk about them, get them out in the open, and it's been nice to learn some things about each other, especially perspectives and experiences, because even though you might never be able to understand how someone's feeling because you haven't experienced it, you can always empathize with them. And being empathetic with people, especially in the current situation that we're in, is important. Yeah, that's what I've got to say.
What you got to say?
Fire away, Puddy.
Put this on you.
I suppose I could go with saying thank you for making it this far through the video and getting to me talking shit on the way out. Please don't forget, like Elliot said, talking is a great way to get it out there, to make yourself sort of feel better if you want to sort of do it that way. So don't forget, always, the page inbox is always open to anyone, and that is absolutely anyone. If you feel you can't talk to anyone else and talking to a complete stranger on the internet will help, just do it. Like, you will get a reply, and yeah, just never be afraid to talk to anyone about it at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my bit. So I'm going to pass it on to Ben.
I'll happily take the baton. No, thank you very much for joining us on this podcast, and thank you very much to my gorgeous co-hosts that we have here tonight.
Thanks,
it's been really good. I've really enjoyed talking about it. Yeah. No, I've really enjoyed talking about everything, as much as it's been a very almost somber subject.
I was going to use that word.
Too bad. You can use macabre instead. No, as much as it's been quite a heavy subject and quite a somber subject, I think it's definitely been worth talking about. It's been interesting to see different perspectives, as Elle has said, and it's been nice for me to be able to open up, and nice to see everyone else open up as well. And if you can take something from this podcast, I would bring forwards this kind of normality and bring that into your normal life, because you may not realize how much you are helping someone just by asking them if they're okay and getting them to open up a little bit. And hopefully they'll do the same for you, and they could help you, or they will help you. I'll leave the last one with you, Char.
I think most things have been covered. It's been nice as someone who is ultimately, regardless of whether you're watching this, listening to this, or watch the streams or don't watch any of it, still someone who sits behind a screen, but someone who sits behind a screen and is focused on humour and focused on gameplay and the stream itself. It's been nice for me to be able to open up and be honest, and that's why I'm loving these podcasts as well. And I think that's why a lot of the core audience of the streams and stuff are really enjoying the podcast, just solely because we are able to open up. And I don't really know many other streamers that have been able to do this. Normally streamers that start podcasts and stuff do it along the lines of gaming and things like that. This is very much a very personalized experience. And to me, that's cool. It's cool that we can do that, and it's cool that people are still interested. And so I would like to just round it off by saying, once again, thank you. It's been fucking incredible. I know this one hasn't been live, and there are going to be cuts in the videos, and there are going to be timestamps when I go back through and edit this, and I'm scared to think how long it's going to take to edit this. I'll put the time here as to how long it's taken if I remember. So you can tell how much effort goes into this and why we normally do it live instead. But I guess I'd just like to round it off by saying, if you're still here, if you're still listening, thank you for your time. I hope this has either been an insight to you for what it's like from 4 different perspectives. This has mostly been about male mental health, and I can imagine it's very different regarding female mental health. And maybe one of the topics that we could cover in the future is getting a couple of women on and covering what it's like for them, because this has obviously been 4 blokes talking about it. So it is going to be very predominantly regarding male mental health. And obviously everyone experiences it differently, which is why we got a range of different people in different aspects of life and areas, time points in their life to get involved for this. But I feel like it'd be interesting from a woman's perspective as well. If you want to see that, we can sort that out. And Ben and I could get a couple of women on, not flirt with them, and we'll talk about mental health.
Not flirt with them, struggle with that. Okay.
Well, that's going to be the hard part, really. But yeah, if you've got any more topics you want to see us cover, this was definitely the most requested one. I can speak for both Ben and myself when I say the amount of positive feedback we've had from doing these so far has been incredible. When I was telling Ben and reading Ben some of the messages that we've had regarding it, he was awestruck, because it was literally a 10-minute idea that turned into an initial 3-hour podcast. We have currently been recording for 4 hours though, if not more. So I'm gonna round it off there. I guess we'll do, because we still haven't sorted out a proper outro catchphrase, by saying, don't just suck it.
Alfred, suck it.
Thank you for watching. Big love. If this was a help to you, let us know. Leave a like on the video, all that nice shit. I'll put some thumbs up and shit somewhere in the video. But appreciate it, and big love. And yeah, I guess we'll see you soon.